By now, we all know who Tommy Shelby is. The ultimate Sigma, the big Birmingham gangster.
He's a good man who does bad things to a good end.
But what does he teach us about masculinity? Of course, we know Tommy Shelby as the character he is in the present day.
Fearless and, hugely intellectual. And also, he's very intimidating and he has this, he's the sort of person that walks into a room and, people just pay attention.
He looked at me the wrong way. It's not a good idea to look at Tommy Shelby the wrong way.
But a man has to go through the trials and tribulations during his upbringing to become someone like this. And for Tommy, this was being in the war. And the PTSD from the war is something we see throughout the series. It haunted him at times and became something he tried to suppress, but it also turned him into the monster he needed to be to do what he does.
Gentlemen, there is hell. And there is another place below hell. I'll remember everything. I forget nothing.
That's why if you tried to emulate Tommy Shelby's characteristics or mimic his behavior, you would only get so far because you haven't gone through the hard times he has and you haven't experienced the trauma he did.
Tommy was a clay kicker in the First World War, which is basically a tunneler. They tunneled under enemy lines and set explosives. And so it was the most claustrophobic, horrific, dark job you could possibly have, like the worst of the worst, And he seems to turn that trauma into this kind of relentless ambition because he could have died at any point there. He's not afraid of death, so every day is just like for free, so why not?
And this turns Tommy into someone that is fearless. He's experienced the worst of the worst, so nothing can faze him. So he's able to take on situations that most people would turn away from. And that's why it's important to see the bright side during dark times and to be grateful for any difficulties you face. See, in life, no matter if you play by the book, so to say, no matter how successful you become, bad times are never an impossible occurrence. But what I want you to do is, instead of feeling like it's the end or letting hard times get to you, you be grateful for them. You wipe your tears, dust off your shoulders, you accept that you are where you are, but you're grateful for the fact that you know you'll come out the other side a stronger man. See, the guys that are referred to as soft probably never endured any hardships in their life. Everything was handed to them on a silver platter, so when they come across any difficulty, they panic and fail. So appreciate the hard times. That's why when fighters have big fights coming up, they put themselves through the toughest training regimes because they know their opponent is likely to take them to deep depths. But because of their training, they're already prepared for that hard work. Now, what also comes as a huge importance to Tommy Shelby is family. Family is a huge theme in Peaky Blinders and is who Tommy works with and is who he's surrounded by. His brothers, Arthur, John and Finn, his sister Ada, his aunt Polly, his cousin Michael. He then goes on to marry Grace, who he has his son Charles with. Grace sadly passes away and he marries Lizzie, who he has his daughter Ruby with. In the latest season, he also finds out he has a long lost son named Duke. Now, why am I basically giving you Tommy Shelby's family tree? It's to show how big of a scope the show wants you to put on the idea of family. Tommy is the head of this big family, showing the masculine tendency to take responsibility for your family. But no matter what, family was something Tommy never turned his back on. Although he would end up having problems with them over time, his aim was always to be the provider and make sure they were always good. He really did love them all and want the best for all of them. On the journey to the top, we're forced to become very selfish to pursue our own needs, as we should. But we must remember that every so often, we must pause to eat the fruits of our labor, and while doing so, dedicate some time to family. But the most important family as a man is the family you create, your own children and your wife. You should be on the journey for yourself, of course, but you also want to grind for the purpose of giving your family a good life. You should do what you can to ensure your kids don't struggle. But let's not underappreciate Tommy's personality change with grace.
I think the pre-war Tommy, he smiled a lot, he laughed a lot, he wanted to work with horses, he was very romantic, you know, all of these things. You see scratches of them, you know, throughout the show, and there's times when he feels like he's getting towards some sort of healing when he's with Grace, and then it's taken away again.
This is proof that a good woman can really bring out the best in a man. When a woman has good feminine qualities, it complements us as men and allows our masculinity to persevere. Some guys online who have been hurt from low quality women have started this narrative of women being bad and useless. And although I'll admit you shouldn't be looking for a relationship at a young age, if a woman with all the right values happens to stumble upon you, don't reject it and avoid it just because of what you've heard online. Some of the most successful athletes found their wives at a young age, and it could be argued that having a good feminine source as an outlet for their tough journey aided them. And we saw that Tommy's happiest and best moments come from his love for Grace. So value high quality women and value your family. We all love Peaky Blinders for its action and how badass of a character Tommy Shelby is, but a lot of us have this hype clouding our view to the point where we can't see the main point of Tommy's journey in the show, which is mental health. Clearly suffering from clinical issues based on the war, the main one being PTSD, then bearing the weight of the responsibility of his family, being a gangster, being a CEO, prime minister, things going wrong all lead to his depression, and at one point aiming the gun at his head, pulling the trigger, but luckily the clip was empty. Everyone thinks masculinity is about being this big strong guy that doesn't let anything faze him, but the truth is mental health can get to anyone. Someone in real life who truly reminds me of Tommy Shelby is Tyson Fury. He had to fight his own wars and work through many battles and struggled with his mental health and almost ended his own life.
I suffer with depression up to the point of suicide, anxiety attacks, everything.
However, he worked through it and came back strong, and the rest, as they say, is history. Tommy Shelby's neglect of his mental health is where us as viewers need to stop glamorizing him for a second, and we need to understand what's really being shown. Tommy Shelby had a constant avoidance of his problems. He tried to suppress them to the back of his mind and carry on life as normal, rarely ever opening up and deteriorating as time went on. I don't want this to get mixed up with the first lesson. The first lesson simply means when an objectively bad thing happens, maybe you fail, maybe you've been dealt bad cards in life. You don't give up, you push forward and you take control of your life. Mental health is a whole different conversation. It's not just something you forget about and move on. It's something that gets spoken about less by these self-help content creators as money, fitness, and hustle culture take the spotlight. But neglecting this will make you end up like the worst version of Tommy Shelby that we see during the show. Firstly, there's the prevention of poor mental health. This includes not overworking yourself, journaling, meditation, a healthy diet, going to the gym, and getting good sleep. Doing these will minimize your risk of suffering too much and help your mental health as a result. And if you live a lifestyle like this, it will make it more likely that you don't ever have these problems anyway. If you feel like it's already occurred and it's already inside you, you need to find someone you trust and vent to them about your problems. This could be a close friend, a long-term partner, a family member. If you feel like you don't have any of those, then try your local services and seek professional help. It's nothing to be ashamed about. People want to hold up this frame, especially the guys. They think not talking about it or not doing anything about it makes them more masculine, when that's the complete opposite. Tommy Shelby bottled everything in and didn't talk to anyone about it, and we saw his deterioration as the show went on. Don't use drinking or drugs to escape it either. It's only going to suppress everything even more, and your body is going to suffer as a result. So that will just double up on the problems for you. Drinking was the clear indicator of Tommy trying to suppress his problems. But in the latest season, we see him get sober, which is what you should try if that is something you indulge in.
I ordered water because I no longer drink alcohol.
And if you are going through it, then also use those preventive methods that I mentioned earlier, as they will also help you get out of it as well as prevent it happening in the first place. Just understand that mastering and taking care of your mental health is just as masculine as any of the other aspects. You can't truly be a leader and be a strong man if you haven't taken care of your mental health first, because it will just get in the way of everything else. But a lot of guys think they need to push through it and it's not something they can talk to anyone about, but you really can. With that being said, follow everything I've said in this video and carry that wisdom along with you for the rest of your journey. I've been Jay Wisdom, and until next time.
I don't mind if you don't listen that much, but some of y'all don't listen at all. The same shit they be pushing you